We are all waiting for the trial of Jarvis Butts. There will be a lot more said, a lot more lies will be uncovered, besides the fact that Naziah is still missing as of this video. The courts have declared her dead. JB isn't getting out. He is a sex offender that violated his terms as a free man multiple times. He wasn't registering. I don't believe that he had an official address at times. I looked up one of his address and it was likened to a YMCA. JB wasn't even supposed to be around children, but he damn sure was making them. And when I first covered the preliminary trial, how I did it was I viewed the video myself and then I discussed on my channel what was going on and why I felt that person was needed on the stand. For instance, with JB and Naziah's texts, I really don't think that I really listened to them fully, because when I listened to them that second time in the video that I did, I was blown away and disgusted. And now that we know a lot more, it will make a lot more sense when we are looking at this for a second time. We might see things a little bit differently. So I do want to do recaps on Shannon, Annette, JB's sister, business partner, and his fiance, because I think that even though everybody had a pivotal moment on the stand and their testimony was needed, I think those set of people right there are the ones that I just want to do a recap with, in case you missed it.
Did you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Watch your step, please. Have a seat.
When speaking to this mic, you can also pick it up and hold it in your lap.
Whenever you're ready, Ms. Ripley.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning. Could you please state your name for the record?
Shannon Harris,
And Ms. Harris, how old are you?
31.
And back on January, or in January 2024, where did you live?
With my mom. Resides with my mother,
With your mother? Okay, who's your mom?
Annette Harris,
And without telling me the exact address, what street did you live on?
Bedford.
And do you have any children?
Yes,
How many kids do you have?
5.
And do all your kids have the same dad?
Yes,
Who's their dad?
Jarvis Butts.
And do you see Jarvis Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes,
And can you point to him and tell me the color of the clothing that he's wearing?
green, blue, whatever. Green.
Green. Your Honor, would the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant in this case?
So reflected.
Thank you, Judge. And you said your mom's name is Annette. Do you have any sisters?
Yes, 2.
What are their names?
Kenyatta Harris and Marquita Harris.
Are they older, younger, or something else?
Oh, there. Marquita is a twin. She's my twin, same age.
Okay. And Kenyatta's older?
Yes,
Okay. Do you have any nieces or nephews?
yes,
Do you know someone named Naziah Harris?
yes.
What's your relationship to her?
My relationship to her, she is my niece, I'm her aunt.
Okay. And whose daughter is she?
My older sister is Kenyatta Harris.
Okay. And did you have any nicknames for Naziah?
Yes, we all called her Tudda.
And is that Tudda?
Yes,
And did Naziah ever know Jarvis through you?
yes.
Okay. And when did Naziah and Jarvis first meet?
When she was little, like age 2.
And can you kind of describe the relationship between Naziah and Jarvis?
Should be just the uncle and the niece relationship, no more than that.
How often would Jarvis be around, like at your house with you?
He will call or say, can he come see the kids, or the kids will ask, can he see their dad? And he will come, pull up either to my house where I used to live or at my mother's house.
Would Naziah ever be around?
All the kids would be around.
Okay. To your knowledge, would Naziah ever text Jarvis?
From my knowledge, no, unless I will have her to text.
But to your knowledge, you didn't know of any kind of separate outside relationship?
No.
Would there ever be times where, where did you know Jarvis Butts to work?
Pardon?
Where did you know Jarvis Butts to work?
Where did I know him to work at?
Yes.
He worked at 2 different locations. The first location would be on East Warren, and the other location would be on Gratiot and Connor.
And what were those locations?
Those are the auto repair shop.
Okay. Would you ever know Naziah to help Jarvis Butts at his shop?
Yes, he will call me and say, hey, if I can get our daughter and Naziah to come and work up at the shop. And I would say, let me ask my mom first regarding Naziah.
Okay. And which daughter of yours would that be?
That would be my oldest, Janiyah.
Okay. Would you ever know Naziah to go to Jarvis's shop alone?
No.
Whose birthday is on or around September 26th?
That's my my 4th oldest birthday.
Okay. Do you recall a birthday party on September 26th of 2022?
Yes.
Okay. And was Jarvis there?
No.
Okay. And that would have been his son's birthday party?
Yes.
Were there ever times that you would text Jarvis off of a text now number?
The only time I would text Jarvis off a text now number is if my phone is off. Other than that, no.
And do you recall the numbers that you would text Jarvis from?
Yes.
Okay. And does a 586-510-5161 sound familiar?
Yes.
And what number is that?
That used to be my old number.
And is that number that you would text Jarvis from?
Yes.
And what number did you have for Jarvis Butts?
The 313-585-8719.
And did you have any numbers for Naziah?
It was a funny looking area code. The area code was a 231.
Okay. I want to show you some messages from People's Exhibit 16 and ask you some questions about them, okay?
Okay.
Brandon, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm going to direct you to messages on or about June 27th of 2023. Do you recall those messages? Did you send any of those messages to Jarvis Butts?
No.
Okay. And do you know, I believe there's a phone number here that's highlighted. Whose phone number do you know that to be?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay, and you don't recall ever sending any of those messages?
No.
Okay. And now I want to direct you to messages from June 28th of 2023. How about any of these? Did you send any of these to Jarvis Butts?
No.
What about any messages from July 2nd of 2023? Did you send any of those messages?
No. No, these aren't my messages.
Did Jarvis Butts ever tell you that Neziah texted him to meet up on January 9th, 2024?
No.
Did you tell Jarvis Butts about not being able to locate Neziah on January 9th, 2024?
Yes.
And tell me, how did you tell him that?
I called him. He didn't answer. I sent him a message asking him, have he seen Tudda, any whereabouts? And I said no Tudda, and he responded back, oh wow.
I didn't hear what you said. The last part.
Last part, I had, I texted him. Well, at first I called him. He didn't answer. The second time, I sent him a message. Still no Tudda. He replied back, oh, wow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So guys, let me know if I'm reaching. Okay, so when Tudda didn't show up, she started calling, and then she called Jarvis. To me, why would she call Jarvis? Why would Jarvis be around Tudda, right? Tudda goes to school, she comes home, she's only supposed to be sent for, to go down to the shop to clean. So why would on a random day that she has not shown up home after school, would she be with Jarvis?
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
And just for record references, I'm showing her what's going to be proposed, People's Exhibit 48. Ms. Harris, those text messages that you just referenced, do you see those on this page?
Yes.
Okay. And so it's fair to say you stated to Mr. Butts, well, first of all, whose phone number is this at the top?
The phone number is my old telephone number.
Okay, and who is the phone number below that?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay. And is this, do these fairly and accurately represent these two messages? 3, 4, 5. 6 messages sent between you and Mr. Butts on January 9th, 2024 through January 11th, 2024.
The first page is, yes, it's correct. Second page is correct. Yes.
Okay. And so on January 9th, like you had indicated before, you had stated that you told him that there was still no Tudda.
Correct.
Okay. And you said he responded, oh, wow.
Correct.
Okay.
You mean to admit?
No, Judge.
Okay.
These fairly and accurately represent text messages between you and your phone to Jarvis and his phone between, well, they start back earlier. Some from December 3rd, 2023 through January 21st of 2024. These fairly and accurately represent text messages between
Yes.
you and your phone to Mr. Butts and his phone?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 48. No objection.
Okay, they'll be admitted.
Thank you, Judge. So on January 11th, did you ask Mr. Butts to do something?
Yes.
And what is it that you asked him to do?
I asked him, can he share the missing flyer on his Facebook page?
Okay. And did you send him a copy of that missing flyer?
Yes.
Okay. And to backtrack just a little bit, on December 3rd, 2023, do you recall sending messages asking Mr. Butts if he needed Neziah for anything?
Yes, I do remember.
Okay. So do you remember this text on the first page of People's Exhibit 48?
Yes, I do remember this message.
Okay. And did you send that message?
Yes.
Okay. And what did the message say?
Tudda said, do you still need her too?
Okay. And do you know what is that referring to?
It was, Tudda had asked me to contact Jarvis and see if he still needed them to clean up.
Okay. And that would be to clean up his shop?
Yes.
Okay. And to fast forward, on January 21st of 2024, you sent some messages to Mr. Butts. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And can you read these last 3 messages?
These last 3 messages is, to be honest, these messages I seen into the inbox to you, I really don't know what to believe anymore. Stay away, Ramon, I mean it. The next message is, I don't know what to say, or Tudda is on. Since this shit doesn't sit right with me, call it what you want, I'm good, period. It says, this for life. Nigga, I thought about it, and you can pass it.
And sorry, just one more.
And don't call me, no need to explain shit. I already see it.
Okay. So you were referencing some messages that you saw in Tudda's inbox.
Correct.
Tell me, how did you see some messages? Well, first of all, where these messages, where were they at?
The day of Officer Gardner came to pick up Neziah's tablet. My mom asked me to put it on the charger. I put it on the charger. Officer Gardner, after that, Officer Gardner called and said she's on her way.
This is hearsay.
Without saying what?
Okay, I'm sorry. The officer had called and said that they was on their way to come
Still
pick up
hearsay?
the tablet.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Sustained as far as hearsay.
yes, thank you, Judge. Okay, continue.
So before the tablet was picked up, I looked inside Tudda's tablet. She has 2 passwords that I normally know. So one of them is referenced for her brother's birthday, and the other one is referenced from my password. So I put the first password in, it didn't work. So I put the second password in. So the first thing I went to was Instagram, which I was scrolling. And I seen Jarvis Butts' Instagram page. I clicked on his page, and I seen 2 messages.
Okay. And what were the messages that you saw? Who were they between, first of all?
Neziah, my niece, and Jarvis.
Okay. And what were the messages that you seen?
It was roughly 2 messages that I have seen that I can recall. States,
I'm going to object to this as hearsay. They have not been admitted, and the messages themselves would be the evidence.
Were the messages of a sexual nature?
no.
Okay. And you said you saw 2 messages.
Yes.
Okay. Did you see anything else?
It was two sent pictures, but you can't really make anything out. It wasn't nothing there, but it was a picture was sent.
Okay.
So Shannon found some messages and she went off on Jarvis through text. Don't you think that Shannon confronted Neziah? Of course she did. I wonder what was said. And did Neziah continue texting him? We know she did.
What did seeing those messages, what did they cause you to do?
Well, when I see no messages, I called him
Who's
and
that?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay.
Called him while he was at work, asked him, what is these messages I seen between you and my niece? And he said, what messages? Said it's two particular messages that states out in this picture. And he stated that, I don't know, these messages, I told him what the messages were, and he said it was probably our children was messaging him. And I stated no, because I know how our children will text.
Okay. And reading those messages, is that what caused you to text
Mr. Butts, yes.
Mr. Butts, in that you've seen the messages in the inbox and you don't really know what to believe anymore?
Correct.
Okay. One second, George. Shannon, I want to take you back to January 9th. Were you home that day?
Yes.
Okay. And did you see Neziah that day?
My senior did that morning, correct.
Okay. And do you remember what she was wearing at all?
Her coat and her uniform at the time, she had on some blue jeans. I don't really recall the outfit. I just know the coat she had on.
And what was the coat that she had on?
She had on, it was a 90s coat with all the characters on it.
Okay. And you recall seeing her wearing that the morning of January 9th?
Correct.
And Your Honor, may I approach people's already admitted Exhibit 2?
Yes.
I'm going to show you People's Exhibit 2. Can you tell me, do you recognize a coat in this photo?
Yes.
And whose coat do you recognize that to be?
Neziah's.
Okay. Now, after you were... When you saw Neziah that morning, what did you do the rest of the morning?
Nothing, I was at home with my mom and my two children.
And do you ever leave the house at any point that day?
No, I was at the house the whole entire day.
Okay. And do you know what time Neziah would normally get home from school?
On certain days, she will stay for after school, and then on certain days she will come home. The days she will stay for after school is 6. And the days that she don't, is at 3 o'clock.
Okay. And on January 9th, do you know if Neziah had the after-school program?
Yes. At that time, my mom took her out of the after-school program. So she will come home directly at 3 o'clock.
Okay. And were you home at 3 o'clock?
Yes.
And did you see Neziah come home?
No.
Okay. And did you see her come home at all the rest of the night?
No.
Okay. Did you leave at any point after 3 o'clock?
No.
Okay. Did you, when Neziah didn't come home, did that cause you to experience or feel any type of way?
It did. When she didn't come home is when my mom went to go pick up the other 2 children from the after-school program. They knocked on the door and they had asked a question and said,
Objection. Sounds like hearsay.
One second. You have a response or?
A question isn't hearsay technically.
I think she said she said.
It's just a question.
I'm
Yes.
just getting ready to say a question. Okay,
What
finish
was
what
the,
you were saying.
what was the question?
the 2 children had asked me, Mom said,
That's the hearsay.
did
Mom-
Neziah come home?
The hearsay is mom said.
Okay, so were you asked directly whether Neziah came home?
So my mom was still in the car, I was inside the house. They was coming to the house, walking up to the door. When I opened the door, they asked me, Mom said, did Neziah come home? I said, no.
Okay. And was Neziah home at all?
No.
Okay. And did you do any sort of looking for Neziah that night?
Yes.
What did you do?
I called my twin sister. I called some of her friends that I know that stays close by. If they had seen Neziah, heard from Neziah and everything. And when I reached out to my sister, she said no. Her friend said no. So after that, I asked my mom, did she want me to call the police? She said no, she will take it up in the morning.
Okay. Just one second. Shannon, did you know Desire to have a pair of red and black Nike shoes?
Yes.
Okay. And if I showed you a picture of them, would you be able to identify them?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
And for the record, this is going to be from People's Proposed Exhibit 14, and it'll be picture 34. Do you recognize these shoes?
Yes, that's a pair of shoes that my mom bought for Tudda birthday.
Okay, thank you. Now, back on the 9th, you said your mom was going to file a police report in the morning.
Correct.
Okay, did you go with her to file a police report in the morning?
No, it was my older sister.
Okay. Did you do anything on the 10th as it relates to trying to find Desire?
Yes, we went out, I and some others went out to go get some pictures, made copies. We went to other stores, passed out flyers, and everything that we need to do. Now, what was asked of us to do.
Okay. And since January 9th, 2024, have you seen Desire?
No,
Have you, since January 9th, 2024, have you heard from Desire?
no,
Nothing further at this time, Judge.
You and Mr. Butts have been, or you've known him for about 12 years,
correct,
and fair to say that you were in a dating relationship with him for most of that time,
correct.
but towards the end, like last year, it was more off and on, fair to say,
No, it was on and off for years,
for years, okay. But you have 5 children with him,
correct,
and this relationship that you had with him, even towards the end when it was on, it was a sexual relationship, right?
correct,
Sometimes you go to a motel to have sex with him,
correct. When, yes,
and that motel was the Park Inn.
or the SharePoint,
There was more than one.
multiples, yes,
Okay. But one of them was the Parkrest. Said yes.
correct,
And it said in Harper Woods,
correct,
on Harper.
correct.
Okay. Do you know if Mr. Butts, or do you suspect that Mr. Butts has taken other women to those motels also?
Correct.
You do?
Mm,
I believe you said that you have, of your 5 children with him, 2 are girls
yes,
and 3 are boys.
correct,
And in January of this time, well, January 2023, you were living with your mother on Bedford, correct?
correct,
Prior to that, were you living in Clinton Township?
correct.
When did you leave the Clinton Township home and move to the Bedford home?
October 23.
And so there were times when you were in Clinton Township that Mr. Butts would travel out there to see the kids,
Correct,
and then when you moved to the Bedford address, he would go to the Bedford address to see the kids.
correct,
And then the Bedford address is when Desire was also living there, correct?
correct.
And I believe you just testified that on January the 9th, you were living at that house? in
Correct.
Bedford, and you were there during the day?
Correct.
And so were you one of the first people that realized that Naziah did not come home when she was expected to be home?
Well, I didn't realize it until I had got a question. By the other kids had asked, did I have Naziah came home yet, or have I seen her? And I said no.
Do you remember what time that was in the afternoon?
That was in the evening. My mom picked them up 6 o'clock.
So that was about 3 hours later than she normally should have been home?
Correct.
Was that surprising?
Yes, it was. One, we thought that she was at the after-school program, but it didn't dawn on no one until my mom came back to the house, and she wasn't here, or she wasn't in the car when they had got in the car.
And so when you all realized that she wasn't at school and she wasn't at home, was that surprising?
Yes.
But you didn't go to the police that night?
No.
Did she ever not return home previously?
No, this is her first time ever doing this.
Did she have friends in the neighborhood that she would go visit?
Yes.
And you said, I think, are those the folks that you contacted to ask?
Yes.
You were just shown a pair of red and black Nike shoes, right?
Correct.
And you identified those shoes as being Naziah's shoe. Is that correct?
Correct.
It's a shoe that looks like the shoe that Naziah is wearing, correct?
Correct. Correct.
You can't say for sure that that exact
Yes, her-
shoe came from Naziah, is that fair to say?
Correct.
And I think you testified that very rarely would you ever use text now to contact Mr. Butts.
Right.
Only if your phone was turned off,
Right.
and that was not very often.
Right.
Would Naziah ever have access to your phone to use it?
Yes, like she would ask, hey, TT, can I see your phone? Sure, I wouldn't mind, yes.
And so would she text from that phone?
Probably, yes.
Did you ever notice any text from
No,
her on your phone?
no.
Did you ever notice if she had used your Text Now app?
No, the only time when I would notice something is say if me and Jarvis would, we won't be on the same page seeing eye to eye, and I will call him and he say, why you will call me, or like why you continue to keep calling me, and I would say I haven't called you all day or in 2 days. Then I will go ask my kids like, hey, are y'all calling your dad because I haven't called him.
Okay. And until you looked in Naziah's Instagram account, did you ever notice anything on your phone that caused you to be concerned?
No,
Between Naziah and Mr. Butts?
no,
And Mr. Butts, we said, would come to the house to see his kids.
correct.
He would drop them off at the house sometimes. He would take them places.
Yes,
He would pick Janiyah up from there.
like he, depending on like if he will pick up the kids, if I need him to pick up the kids from the pickup or drop off spot, for school, he will do that, yeah.
And then take them either to Clinton Township when you lived there, or to the Bedford Street address?
Correct.
Okay. But most times he wouldn't even come to the house, right?
He will come to the house, he will call me first before he will come.
Would he come into the house physically, or would he sit in his truck outside?
50%. He will sit in the car and wait till the kids come outside, or he will knock on the door.
Okay. Would he be in the house for any length of time?
Only if I'm inside the house,
Like if he was visiting with you?
yes.
Okay. So you never knew a time that Mr. Butts would have been alone in the house with Naziah?
No,
You can't think of a time when he had been in the house and had gone down to the basement with her?
no,
Or any other room in the house alone?
no.
Would Mr. Butts have ever been at that house if another adult, like you or your mother, weren't there?
He will, what you said,
Would Mr. Butts ever be at the house if you or your mother weren't there?
no, it will be me or another person.
The idea that anything was going on between Mr. Butts and Isaiah is shocking to you, right?
Correct.
You had no idea.
No,
You never noticed anything between Isaiah and Mr. Butts that made you concerned?
no,
You never saw any inappropriate behavior?
not at all.
You didn't notice Mr. Butts paying any special attention to her?
No.
Certainly, if you had noticed that, that would have caused you concern.
Yeah, it would have raised a whole bunch of red flags.
Likely, you wouldn't have invited him into the house, correct?
Correct.
You found it hard to believe even that Mr. Butts would hurt Messiah.
But I won't know, I don't know, what he will do if a person's back is up against the wall.
But the thought of that was hard for you, at least at one point, to believe,
Yeah.
correct?
Correct.
I remember this statement. What would Jarvis' back be up against the wall due to Naziah? What was Naziah, like 5 foot, like 90 pounds, maybe 90 pounds? Why is his back against the wall? Yeah, I do remember that really odd statement from her.
Now, during the time that you and Mr. Butts were together, he had children with other women,
Correct.
pretty consistently with other women,
Correct.
more than one woman.
Correct.
Some of those women you actually knew about, correct?
Correct.
They lived kind of even in the same neighborhood on the east side.
Correct.
But you suspect that there were women that you didn't know about?
Correct.
Even one that lived, or more than one that lived over on the west side?
Correct.
You believe he was going out there to see somebody around the end of 2023, January 2024?
Correct.
Before January the 9th, you had a conversation with Naziah about a location on Outer Drive in Belfort,
Yes.
and that was surprising to you, right?
Correct.
That's on the east side of Detroit.
Yes.
Did you end up giving her directions on how to get to that location?
Yes.
Why did you give her directions?
I was just getting out the shower and just getting myself together. She asked me, she said, "Hey, Titi," she said, "where is Belfort and Outer Drive?" And I told her, I said, "You know exactly where Belfort and Outer Drive at." I said, "Outer Drive is right where the wine basket at." And I said, "You know where Belfort at?" And she was like, "I get Balfour and Bedford mixed up." So I said, "You already know Belfort is before Bedford." So she said, "Okay." She said, "Because we are in school and we are learning about our surroundings." So I said, "Okay." But that was the only two things that she had asked, was where was Outer Drive and Balfour at.
Does that location have any special significance to you?
No.
Do you know anybody at that location?
No, the only thing that I'm used to, I'm familiar with, is just picking up Jarvis on Outer Drive in Belfort. It's just on a corner.
On a corner?
Mm-hmm.
Not at an address?
Not on the dress.
Okay. When was this conversation that you had about that location? Do you recall?
This was right before Naziah went missing.
Like, how soon before? Weeks?
Maybe it was still like in that same week she went missing.
Mr. Butts didn't have his own vehicle, fair to say?
No, he didn't.
He generally used,
His female's vehicles.
did you know Mr. Butts to park at one location and maybe walk to another to kind of try to remain undetected?
Pretty much, yes.
So would it be not out of the ordinary for you to have to pick him up at a random, or what seemed to be a random location to you?
Correct.
you lived with Naziah for, you said from about October until January the 9th.
Correct.
So you spent a lot of time around her?
Yes.
You knew her mannerisms,
Yes.
her demeanor,
Yes.
her moods.
Yes.
Did anything strike you as out of the ordinary about how she was acting at any point in time in December or January before she disappeared?
No, Naziah, nothing have changed her character, none of that. She was just the same old Naziah. Nothing is different.
Naziah has a brother, right?
Yes.
Is it an older brother?
Yes.
No, he had run away in 2023, is that right?
Yes.
Objection relevant.
How is it relevant?
If it's something that had bothered her or something that she was dealing with at the time, could cause a change in her demeanor.
Okay. Overruled.
So she did have a brother that ran away,
Correct.
and was that something that she struggled with?
She didn't like the fact that her brother was running away. Yes, she didn't like it.
Around the same time, around the time December, January, was her mother supposed to come visit, her biological mother?
Yes.
Did she end up coming to see Naziah?
Yes.
She did. Did Naziah seem to have some big emotions about that contact?
Yes.
It was complicated, fair to say?
Yes.
Did she talk to you about that?
All the time.
Did you notice anything? You said you didn't notice anything in a changing mood. So
No.
what about physically?
No.
I don't have anything else, thank you.
Can you read it right?
Yes. Did you go to the Park Crest Inn on January 9th, 2024, Mr.
No.
Fox?
No.
And fair to say, you knew of Mr. Butts having other female friends?
Yes.
Okay. And even some that you didn't know about?
Correct.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that you don't always know, or you didn't always know what Mr. Butts was doing?
No.
You couldn't account for his whereabouts every minute of the day?
No.
Did you know him to, one of those cars that he would use, did you know him to have a white Escalade type truck?
Correct. Yes.
And you were asked some questions about Outer Drive and Balfour. Fair to say, from what I gathered, the only connection you have to that area is Jarvis Butts.
Correct.
Okay, so he's the only one you would associate with that area.
Correct.
You knew Mr. Butts to have other children?
Correct.
Okay, and you knew him to have clearly have gotten other women pregnant?
Correct.
And to your knowledge, were all those women adults
To my knowledge, yes.
getting another woman pregnant?
No.
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, can you write down the test?
Okay, so if you are just now seeing this court footage of Shannon, how do you feel about it? And if you've already seen it and this is your second time, has your thoughts changed or you still feel the same? Okay, so I think up next I will do Annette.